Okay, says we're live.
But are we live?
Well, I refreshed. Still shows us offline.
That is. Minus the asterisks. Type it into the chat.
It is now working.
What the heck?
Are you sure it's now working and not that you're hosting me and I'm broadcasting the logo?
No, it's moving, and I heard somebody talk.
Yes, because
It's because he's. Yeah, look down there. It says follow Alistair Forthright.
Oh, okay.
The
But
picture
you
says
had I gave you that logo? Oh, what the heck? What?
The following
now
podcast
he's
is
gonna
intended
show
for
off.
mature audiences.
This
The
is how we're
opinions
getting around
expressed do not
technical
reflect
difficulties,
this
folks.
station or any affiliated partners.
Thing is, I don't see
Listener
it.
discretion is advised.
Unless I
Ladies
go
and
to
gentlemen,
his page.
welcome to the GeekEZ.
well,
I'm
you
watching it right now.
should. I should also be playing. No.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing.
I was clearly prepared for this day.
It looks like it. Does Firefly know where to go? Or is it showing on the Holosuite's page right now?
It's on Holosuite's page because you have Holosuite hosting me.
Okay, that is really weird.
I'm just not going to see him in my chat.
It's okay.
So-
I'm in the chat, so if he speaks, we will be able to tell you when he speaks.
So I'm going to monitor my chat, and Tank can monitor Holosuite Media's chat.
We shall monitor all of the chats. I don't know why I went with that accent, but there it is.
All I know is.
Wow, that's harsh. Yeah, it's probably bots anyways.
Yes, you will. What's real? I just want to know why my broadcaster is not working. XSplit?
Well, what are you using?
To work around.
Maybe that's the option to go with, Adam.
Say possible, but I paid for XSplit. I paid money for this.
Apparently you ain't getting your money's worth.
No, I bet you it's the streaming key. I bet you something happened and Holosuite stream key changed and I don't have the new key.
It could be it.
Well, either way, here
Maybe
we are.
we've
We're
been
here.
fired.
I've been fired.
Well, wait. We weren't even being paid.
Doesn't that make it worse?
The only downside is this is going to pick up all.
Nope. Just really weird.
Mute my stream because it's.
I have not noticed.
I did not notice.
But I also have the stream actually muted.
Well, at least we're live, sort of.
Undead.
Hi, Firefly. Can you hear us?
Well, he was speaking earlier, but maybe the chat's all thrown off. Or he went over to Alistair's channel. We'll never know.
Everything's all thrown off.
So, yeah, he shows he's in there, so maybe he just walked away for a sandwich.
Okay, now I've got like way too many things going on right now. So, well, we got that working. What are we gonna talk about?
We were going to talk about how we were going to do something cool, and we totally botched it because Twitch didn't want to play.
For real, we had a really cool opening and it got botched. That's all I gotta say to that.
And Adam's got a new toy.
I do. So. Yes. Really?
Was that him or our ratings?
I don't think the two are mutually exclusive at this point. Yeah, we got a canned audience now.
Yes, we do. So, he's going back. We can talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. since he hasn't watched it since the season or mid-season premiere.
Yes.
It sounds
I
like
rather
he's
enjoyed it.
given up on it for some reason.
Sounds like he did.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was rather a good episode. I didn't see that twist coming.
It felt very Marvel for some reason. I don't know why. Who directed that? The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is because it had a very cinematic feel to it. I don't know why.
I'll look it up.
But it was good. I mean, again, it was my biggest issue I had with it. It was shot in the dark. Everything was in the dark, and I was like, I can't see what's going on. It was like harsh lighting on one person or in one area, and everything else was in the dark. But the show, it worked. It worked really well. It had a twist, but it was a twist I think I saw coming. Even though you guys kind of spoiled it somewhat for me last night, even because I didn't get to watch it until today. But
And we didn't spoil Jack Squat.
no, but you said there was a twist, and I was like, oh, well, the twist is everybody's going to be an LMD, and there it was. What a twist. I actually half expected to find out that Fitz was an LMD.
Directed by Wendy Stansler.
Oh, well, she did a good job.
The next episode is directed by Jed Whedon.
Ooh.
Not Joss.
But yeah, I mean, from what I've read, I was like, I guess they're tying up the LMD storyline, and like Wolfie said off air, how are they going to tie this all up in one episode? I don't know.
So I did just realize one thing.
What?
I don't have your outro.
That's okay. I'll add it into the. Oh, you know what? I'm not even recording right now. I hope you're recording.
Yeah, it auto records for Twitch.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay, you're gonna
and
have to give me the audio file.
yeah, I'll have to download it and then get it to you. Or I can add you as an editor.
Oh, you have it. It's recording on Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I usually have local recording where it records through my broadcast. Man, this is just gonna screw me all up.
I'll get you the video recording and you can make audio out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or is this just gonna go into the lost episodes list?
Nope.
Could.
No, because as soon as this is over, I'm going to hit export to YouTube.
Go ahead.
Speaking of YouTube, I did not realize this, but a fairly major retro game channel, like, didn't just end in January. They deleted everything.
Who?
Retro Liberty.
So speaking of YouTube,
Pew pew die.
yeah.
He died. No, not he didn't really die. He did shoot himself in the foot, though.
Now, I have not followed the case completely of what happened. Please tell me he was joking.
He claims he was, and I believe he was, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it was a stupid thing to do.
He didn't think they'd do it, and so according to him, he was trying to come up with the most outrageous thing he could think of. Unfortunately, it's not the first time he said stuff like that, and I think part of the problem is coming from the country he comes from and everything. Their sensitivity to that stuff is a little different because the country is I won't say it's homogenous, but it's much less varied in terms of culture.
Now, how does Disney play into this?
Disney owns Maker, which was,
Oh.
Which is essentially a company built on his back.
Well. I'm sorry. Anti-Semitism. Yeah, anti-Semitism is not something you joke around about. Nazis are not something you joke around about.
there's something you punch.
You just don't, yeah.
Just ask Captain America.
You don't, it's not
funny.
It's not funny.
Also, speaking of YouTube, JonTron has apparently been very political lately.
Yeah, he kind of got a little burned.
I didn't like. Apparently, he's pretty far to the right.
But it was
Yeah, he definitely went a little out there. Firefly, I would point out that the term Semite is not actually a synonym for Jew. Yeah.
Jews are Semites, though, as are
Yes.
Arabs.
Yes. So anti-Semitism is anyone from that area and of that
But
ethnic region.
it tends to be applied almost exclusively to Jews in this day
True.
and age.
True. But I mean, he did have somebody hold up a sign that says "Not kill all the Jews," right?
Yes, through the website Fiverr.
Yeah, just
That wasn't the no. You should run that through the filter a few times. Like, is this funny? No.
No, funny was Sarah Silverman thinking that the marks on the ground for the surveyors were swastikas. That was funny. Did you hear about that one?
No.
She took photos and put it on her Instagram and Twitter that she was walking to get coffee, and she was like, "Oh, it's Nazis are all over the place," and she took photographs of the surveyors' marks on the ground, which is a line with an S through it. And she said these people they need to learn how to draw swastikas. Don't neo-Nazis have Google? And then everybody started like totally harassing her. It was just like, oh, look. And they just showed all these surveyors doing things. It's like, here's one pointing a laser beam to kill people. And it's just like, that's funny because it was a complete misunderstanding on a Jewish person's part. But
actually it was probably
yeah, well, either way. But the whole, having somebody hold up a sign with swastikas on it and all that, yeah, no. Yeah, it's just wrong. So yeah, he got canned from, or Disney dropped him, and deservedly so.
Yeah, can't he protect that himself?
YouTube canceled his pay show also. Which the funny thing is by their own standards, he shouldn't have qualified for that anyways. Oh, I understand that, but if you actually read the standards, it's supposed to be like super family friendly, and he does a lot of stuff that should have disqualified him a long time ago. But he makes too much money for them.
Yeah.
And
I
he
mean,
made a lot.
and Disney has had their own issues with the anti-Semitism and anti-Jew issue stemming all the way back to Walt Disney himself.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're gonna distance themselves from that instantly. You're like,
Nope.
yeah, nope.
Big case of nope.
Big, yeah. So
You know the Walt Disney stuff has never been confirmed one way or
No.
another, and in fact, several people that worked with him made statements saying he was, while his attitude towards Jews was not great, it was actually more accepting than the average attitude at the time.
Which is
Oh,
not
I would not deny
entirely
that.
surprising. I mean, I was just gonna say, I mean, from as a historian here, you can't put on the rose-tinted glasses, or look at it from current perspectives. You have to look at it from the perspective of that time. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that he was that way.
a knight, a Viking, or a samurai. Well, the knight's gone. You don't think so?
You gotta remember the knight is like the tank of that era. He's very heavily armored.
True.
It depends on what era knight you're talking about.
There's that too.
Yeah. Okay, 11th century. We're talking full suits of armor at this point.
I don't think they were quite that heavily armored.
Yeah.
I mean, the samurai have the superior weapon.
Ish. It depends on in what way you're looking at it. Well, it's overall balanced in terms of its cutting, durability, and all that. However, in terms of brute strength, a longsword will pretty much destroy a katana if they clang against each other.
Please don't tell me he mentioned them wearing horns on their helmet. Okay, well, at least he got that part right.
Or something similar-ish. Well, that's not true.
What? Man, someone needs to do some serious research. What? Yes. The Scandinavian continent was like, or not continent, peninsula was, I don't know, pretty cool.
Still is.
Yeah. I mean, bustling markets. I mean, they had a very, I mean, they were seafaring folk. They did fishing and shipping and all that kind of stuff.
They also controlled Iceland, which is not as icy as you would think.
If you're doing it from the exact same time period, probably.
Probably.
I mean,
You
the samurai
Tank,
didn't have metal armor or chainmail. That wasn't really their thing, but bambooish. Yeah, it was good, but you're not looking at the same kind of stuff. But still, if you're looking at 11th century Viking, knight, and samurai, I imagine they're probably about the same. It's later on that you get more differences. Like you're thinking the classic Crusade knights or the romantic version of them, where they're very heavily armored. Oh yeah, then those guys are the freaking tanks. But you knock them down, they ain't getting back up. Not because they're dead, just because that shit's heavy. Totally. But well, Mongols can do it, and I believe I've read that the Japanese were able to do archery on horseback, but I don't know much about that, so I can't go
Yeah,
one
I'd
way
have
or
to
the
look
other.
into that one. You know what though? When it came to the samurai's fighting style, he would have an advantage, would he not?
Not necessarily. Again, it goes back to the type of the weapon. With a samurai's katana blade, sure, for doing actual slicing and whatnot and parrying, it's a superior weapon for that. The longsword or a similar type of weapon like that is heavier and it'll just batter through a katana. But then again, you're quicker with the katana. Your goal
Much
is not
quicker.
to actually take the hit. Your goal is to deflect it. But a few hits from a longsword's still going to keep on going. The katana is probably going to be banged to hell. So they'd have to move quick.
I would think it would be more. It could stab through it. It would not be able to slice through it
Possibly. Hard to
because I
say.
mean it's got a different sort of. I mean it's
The
while the
tip on
katana.
the katana is not as tough as like the long swords or the short sword types that would have been
Yeah,
prevalent in
but
Europe.
it's a thinner blade, whereas the long swords and even the short swords at that time period were thicker forged metal, which is why the chainmail could stand up to them because they couldn't penetrate it in a stabbing motion the same way. They could. It was just not.
Well,
They were more
I think
protection
the
against
issue.
slicing.
Sure. I think the issue, if you were trying to stab with the katana, which you can do, it can do that, is that if you're wearing like chainmail, and granted this is a guess, it would be fun to actually do this, as an actual, scientific experiment. But if you were to stab with a katana against chainmail, yeah, you might, penetrate, but you won't get too far, and then there's a good chance you might break the blade.
True. Well, there's a YouTube video I'm watching right now, Chainmail versus Katana, and the Katana did absolutely nothing to it. Nothing.
Which doesn't entirely surprise me. But then again, chainmail doesn't really protect everything. And frankly, you get somebody, you can wear a chainmail gorget or something like that. It goes around your head and covers all the way down to your neck. Sure, you get hit in the neck with that, it's going to hurt like hell. But probably not going to kill you. I'm trying to actually see what kind of sword would have been around in the 11th century for a knight. I thought maybe it would be like a broadsword, but nope, that came later.
Well, in the 11th century, I mean, it was still a forged sword.
They're always forged.
Well,
Even the Vikings
I
knew how
mean,
to do the
you know what I
folding
mean.
thing.
It was a unlike say the katana, which was folded metal, and it was heated and folded, which is how the Japanese made their swords. I mean, like the Roman way of making swords and stuff it just kind of went by the wayside.
It was probably the arming sword tank.
Arming?
Oh, yeah, arming sword. Started use in circa 1000 up to 1500.
High medieval sword of the Romanesque period, 10th to 13th centuries. Yeah, I can see that. That one, compare that to a katana. I don't think I think they wouldn't be too far apart from each other, actually.
And then, of course, there's made.
Longsword came later.
Yeah, okay. Katana's got a little bit in length. It's about the same weight.
They're roughly equivalent.
The Ulfbert swords.
This is the sword show, folks.
Actually, the arming sword was slightly longer. It was 75 centimeters, whereas the katana's average length is right around 60, 65. But they're both around the same weight. So yeah, probably
Handling would be about the same.
Hand-
It's just that how
yeah.
you handle it would be different.
it was a single-handed sword, though.
Technically speaking, a katana is single-handed too. Although
Technically.
you do better with two. True.
I wonder how much, like, you're looking at weights of armors and the person underneath there. How well trained are they? How strong are they? What's their stamina levels?
Hold on. Before we get a volume check, might be in order. The mic volume seems quite low. Whose volume's low? And suddenly your ears are blown out.
Is it mine? If it was mine, it was probably because my mic was pushed up.
Oh, well, I have because I use this to stream video games rather than a podcast normally, I have desktop audio at -9 decibels.
Well, yeah, that'll be, yeah. No, we gotta say to that.
You shut up.
This is recorded before a live studio audience that will soon be decimated. Another historical term. They laugh now.
But
Can say about that.
like actual chainmail shirts, the weight's distributed from where it's secured at the waist and on your shoulders, so it's
heavy.
It's heavy, but it's not. The weight is distributed in a way that it doesn't really restrict you.
No, well, it doesn't really restrict you by its weight per se, and the fact that it's chainmail, so it's already much more flexible. But it's still fairly hefty.
Yeah.
I've worn just the gorget part of it, that goes over the head and whatnot. Mentioned earlier, that weighed a lot.
But at the same
transforming and rolling out.
But at the same time, this is supposed to be the elite versus the elite versus the elite. So these are the guys who've trained in this armor used
Yeah,
it
I mean,
for.
they're not going to be weak guys.
No. Although I still just can't get over the ideas like that the Vikings are from some barren, frozen wasteland, but they ran around in nothing.
What are they, Celts? Actually, they might be slightly related, but that's neither here nor there.
So yeah, Vikings. Yeah, holy cow! Viking warrior, 10th and 11th centuries. He was chainmail literally down to his knees. It was a giant cloak.
Yeah, they didn't mess around, and they also had the folded metal thing for their swords.
Yeah. They also carried axes and shields.
Ghillie chain? I'm not familiar with that term. All I'm thinking is, a ghillie suit, which is a little different.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, in armor-wise, the samurai would get destroyed.
Again, depending.
Yeah, it really.
I mean, if you were going to ask Musashi to face off with these guys, well, Musashi's probably going to, wipe the floor with them. But then again, that's Musashi. And he's also much later than the 11th century.
All right, then. Well, there's your history
Oh.
lesson for the day.
Oh,
folks.
okay. I see. Firefly. He's like, I'm imagining a chainmail cloak / poncho going down to the knees. So, okay, ghillie chain. I get it.
Oh. Well, you know what's really funny? We sat here and in what, 20 minutes researched enough that we could tell the difference? Google is your friend.
Well, and some of that I just, knew from myself.
Yeah, I mean.
He does not have the high ground. Well, there we go.
Interesting.
And to be fair, even though I am a historian, I admit I don't know enough to be able to be a true expert or source on the matter. Yeah, we really got it off track from, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though.
Now, I find it funny. I wonder, plate armor versus chainmail.
Technically, they use both.
Technically, they stopped wearing the full mail underneath the plates and just started protecting vulnerable spots where it would cover like shoulders and elbows and things like that.
Well, they'd be wearing it
And
under
skirts.
They
Yeah, it
didn't
would be
go
under
do a
the
full
plate.
body.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worn like the exact same.
Depends also on which knights and which time period again, but they actually did have it so that they wore the chainmail under the full plate armor. Hence why if you knocked them down off their horse, they stayed down. Not because that they couldn't, that they were dead. It's just it was too heavy to get back up. At least without help. They actually had that on Mail Call when that show was still going. They had Gunny Ermey try out the gear, and he got knocked down. He's like, I can't get up.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
There was also a show I think I saw. It was a YouTube. I saw it as a YouTube clip, but a show that tried to do the whole, katana versus, like broadsword thing or whatever versus plate armor and so on. And I'm not so sure that their research was
Deadliest
done
Warrior
well.
did it.
Yeah, I think it might have been Deadliest Warrior. I'm not so sure about their research.
Oomy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a little dubious of that particular episode.
Deadliest Warrior in general is iffy. And entertaining, but iffy.
Oh. Well, speaking of Japanese warriors versus other warriors, who would win, King Kong or Godzilla?
It
It
depends on
depends
which
on the
nation.
American edit or the Japanese edit.
True.
Yeah, because that's what they did once when they did the first time around. If it was in America, King Kong won. If it was in Japan, Godzilla won.
I think the one that's on, or that was on Netflix, was the Japanese edit, because it did not have King Kong winning. Either way, they're planning on doing it.
Yeah.
How big is Kong?
Kong's not small. They've kind of beefed him up a bit.
I would think so, because
Well,
Godzilla
if
was
it's- if
freaking
it's-
huge.
If it's the Kong from the new Kong Island movie, he's pretty big.
I think that's the believability starts going out the window there. A primate that big would not be able to. I mean, even a lizard. Well, lizards have an easier time of it due to body heat regulation and all that kind of stuff. But a primate, yeah, it's got to be a lot of calcium, and it has to eat
Radiation.
ungodly amounts of food. Sorry for Shatnering out of there a little bit. Ungodly amounts of food. Get a life. Oh.
Gonna need.
Yes. No, but I'm just thinking specifically if he is on an island where the food is limited to what grows on said island, the likelihood of being one ape that big is ridiculous. But they're talking about there's skulls and bodies laying around of multiple apes.
Well, now in the original King Kong, it's not like he was the only large creature on the island.
T-Rexes.
True,
there was
but the island was
dinosaurs.
huge. Well, I mean, they can. Primates can. I mean, gorillas and chimpanzees and stuff are known to eat meat if they have to. I mean, they are mostly herbivore, but I mean, they will eat meat if it comes down to it. It's not an unheard of thing, but even then, that's a lot of food. Think about how much food an elephant eats.
I mean, maybe there's some sort of high caloric, nutrient dense super plant on the island.
Chiquita
I don't know.
bananas.
I mean,
to
I
the
know
super
I'm
level.
going crazy scientific wise, but Godzilla in the Gareth Edwards movie was, I mean, he was huge. He was like, I think it's the biggest Godzilla we've ever seen.
At that point, yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how tall they made Shin Godzilla, but he was freaking huge. He had really thick legs too. I didn't like that, but
Well, maybe the Kong that he faces is they mutate Kong to face Godzilla or something.
could be.
Well, if you think about it, though, even Godzilla doesn't make a lot of sense for him to be able to get that large, because the food intake would also be pretty drastic.
I mean, I'm a
I
big King
don't
Kong
think
fan.
Godzilla's sustained by food.
No, I don't think so either. I think
I think he's basically got an internal nuclear reactor.
yeah.
Yeah,
either
maybe for all
way.
we know, Kong's the same way.
I mean, I've been a King Kong fan since I was a kid. I love the original film.
Do you know in the King Kong versus Godzilla, the original Japanese one, that was originally supposed to be Toho's version of Frankenstein, but they switched it, which is why Kong is awakened by electricity and has the electricity karate chop.
Really?
Yeah, because Toho did a Frankenstein movie like that, but for some reason they switched it to Kong, I think to appeal to American audiences or something.
Huh. That I did not know. I mean, I even liked the Peter Jackson one, even though it kind of bordered on the really, really odd bestiality side of things. Where it went from feeling empathy for a gorilla to more of a romance, where she was actually starting to fall for said gorilla. That took it a little far. A little odd. But I think, I mean,
she likes her men like she likes her apes, big and hairy.
I get. I mean, one of the best fan edits of a film I've ever seen was where someone took Peter Jackson's film and edited it to as close as they could get it to the original 100-minute length of the 1933 film, and wow, it was really well done. It was so good because it was like that's what the movie. I mean, Peter Jackson's Kong was, it was way too long. That whole chasing with the what they called brontosauruses or whatever, that was nuts. That was stupid. But I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go see the new one. I'll go see it just because it's King Kong, and it's got like really good actors in it.
That should be all right.
Hello. Yeah. Probably gonna go see the Batman Lego movie sometime this weekend.
I've heard good things.
I've heard good things. I want to see John Wick too, but
I've also heard
we'll
good
see.
things.
Yes.
Speaking of fan edits,
John Wick
Yes.
2 is good.
I know what you're talking about, Wolfie. It is. I'll tell you what it is. It is a fan edit of Prelude to Axanar, where they removed Alec Peters. It is. What do they got? Like 5 million views now?
yeah, we discussed this when he was attacking Horizon, accusing Horizon of purchasing views, even though at the time Axanar's Twitter account was analyzed and basically suggested that they had bought followers.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, it is the most successful fan film Star Trek was. It's not. I mean, it can't get anywhere near like Troops or anything, the Star Wars fan film from years ago, which has like 20 million.
Was not truly a fan film. It
No.
was sponsored. They got money from Lucas, whether they admit it or not.
I think it was a proof of concept. Does Rubio do imps? Yeah. Well, I know Kevin Rubio is actually doing stuff with Alec Peters now in the Axanar front, which is, I can understand where he's coming from because he's started doing fan films and he still does a couple of fan films here and there, but that's neither here nor there. I think the fan edit, because if you want to get technical with the way Star Trek history is written, Garth of Izar was seriously injured at the Battle of Axanar and technically would not have been there to be interviewed.
Yeah, not by John Gill.
He would have been, he would have been probably either on his way to an asylum or already in said asylum because he went nuts very shortly afterwards.
But while the anti-Alec Peters crowd has latched onto this fan edit, Carlos Pedraza of monitor interviewed the person that created it, and it's not meant to be an anti-Alec Peters thing. It's meant to honor Richard Hatch and to remove certain dialogue the fan found questionable, and also he just didn't like the idea of Garth being there, that Garth shouldn't have been able to be interviewed.
It's just a TV show.
But yeah, he had a real problem with the queen bitch whore of the Federation line.
Yeah. I think everybody had it. Yeah, hoo-ah. I still can't get over that Richard Hatch was 71 years old.
Yeah, that like never would have occurred to me that he was that old.
Dude looked like he was in his 50s.
I like Richard Hatch. I will say I don't necessarily like the way Karn was written and or portrayed. He doesn't feel all that Klingon to me in the little bit that we see of him.
Yeah, I will say. I mean, no matter how I feel about the actual way the Kickstarter and all the funding was done and the lawsuit, Prelude to Axnar is an incredibly made fan film.
Oh yeah, it's a major feather in Christian Gossett's cap.
Yeah, it is so well done. Going back and watching it with the edit and stuff, I mean, it's just a well-made piece of film, and it's just really cool. But, no, I mean, Richard, 71. He was like the I guess because I grew up in that era. I mean, Battlestar Galactica was first aired when I was a kid. I was 5, 6 years old. So he was, I mean, I couldn't have Luke Skywalker every week, but I could have Apollo and Starbuck. So, I mean, yeah. He was like the poor man's. He was a poor man's Luke Skywalker. Sorry. Okay. I know what I wanted to talk about. John Williams got a Grammy.
Yay!
For The Force Awakens, which I found interesting since The Force Awakens, I think, was probably one of his weakest soundtracks ever. It wasn't very memorable compared to the other Star Wars ones. It didn't. I mean, it had one real good theme piece, which would have been the he called it the Scavenger. It was Rey's theme. Whereas like the other one, I mean, we had the Imperial March. This one we got the March of the Resistance, which I don't think was as good as the Imperial March, and all that kind of stuff. But Thomas Barone was talking on his Facebook page about soundtracks and of the like, and of Star Wars soundtracks, and that Rebels has what I think somebody said in the chat, in the comment, said, has there been any music aside from Rebels that's been any good? And I will say Rebels has some really good music. I think the soundtrack to the last episode of season 2, The Twilight of the Apprentice, was on par with anything that's been in the films.
It was pretty good.
But I went there.
I do think it's weird that Rebels uses the Indiana Jones marketplace theme for the Lothal market.
He's used other pieces from Indiana Jones as well.
Oh, I know. I'm not complaining about it. It just I notice it every time because I'm a huge Indiana Jones buff.
That's probably why I didn't get it. I enjoy Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I heard it. I remember hearing. I was like, wait a second, that's not Star Wars. But the conversation that I got into, and the other people were like, the Rogue One soundtrack. And they're like, it was so weak, it wasn't that, it wasn't. I was like, the dude did it in 4 weeks. You scored entire film in 4 weeks. And see how good it sounds. I think, again, was it perfect? No, nowhere near it. Is it Academy Award worthy? No. I don't think so. But do you guys actually own it? Any of you guys own The Force Awakens or the Rogue One soundtrack?
No.
No.
I have it. And I've listened to it a couple of times, and it's interesting to it's because Michael Giacchino, is it Giacchino? You can hear
I
it.
don't know.
I can hear as I was listening to pieces here and there. I was like, "Ooh, that came right out of the Star Trek soundtrack. Ooh, that sounds a little Star Trekky." I was like, there was so much that crossed over. I was like, I didn't hear it in the theater, but when you listen to just the music, I was like, oh wow. I think he did an okay job. But okay, I'm rambling now. Sorry.
Yeah, these things happen.
It happens.
But circling back to the fan edit, the interesting thing is there's an uproar because Axonar placed a copyright claim on the fan edit.
Did they really?
Yeah, they took it down, and now it's being hosted by Axomonitor, Matthew Miller, and I think somebody else got in touch with the person and posted it on their YouTube account. But yes, Axonar put a copyright claim on the fan edit of Prelude.
Now that's gotta be an interesting ground because I don't know how that would work. Technically, they did create it. They are the producers of that work, even though it is a fan film of Star Trek. I don't know how that works legally. Can they put a copyright claim? I mean, I guess they can because it's their work.
It as from the little bit I know about the legal stuff, technically in an infringing work, anything original you still hold the copyright for. Although I've had other people say that that the whole infringing work becomes property of the original IP owner. So I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty major sticky
Not
wicket.
knowing what the settlement terms were between CBS, Paramount, and Alec Peters and Axonar Productions, I don't know who owns it. We don't know. I mean, I would still technically under the way it is, they did create that piece. It was created under their production company. So I would think that they still own it.
Yeah, I know that some people are arguing whether they own it or not, that the fan edit is transformative enough that the claim shouldn't hold. I'm not expressing an opinion one way or another. I know certain people have expressed that opinion.
True. See, I would have expected Axonar guys over at Axonar to come down on it and say, "Oh, wait a second here," but I really don't know legally where that
I
stands.
just think they're pushing boundaries because I think they're risking, CBS Paramount putting a copyright claim on them.
What on YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was part of the settlement that it would be allowed to stay up as long as it wasn't monetized.
And that's the other thing. If they're not monetizing it, why bother with the copyright claim?
I don't know. If somebody was using my stuff, I would still go after them, even if they weren't making money off of it, or I wasn't making money off of it. I would. I mean, if I saw somebody using a design that I did or a character that I created, I would go after them.
Yeah, then you'd have every right to do so.
Yeah. Whereas they did make that film. I mean, that was theirs. They did it. It's not like CBS did it and is running after them. That is oh, what a tangled web we weave.
I just think it's rather bold for known IP infringers to go after somebody else.
Yeah, it's like, didn't you just get out of a lawsuit where you were getting sued for IP infringement? I mean, come on. But hey, you know what? To each their own. At this point, I just follow it for the giggles.
Honestly, though, I think the main reason they put a claim on it is they're viewing it as an attack. Hence, the appearance of certain pro-Axonar people that haven't posted in certain groups in a while popping up to attack the edit.
It's just You just kind of have to shake your head at that.
Yeah. Why am I looking at a ball gag in AT-AT's mouth?
Because that's something that Trekkie sent us earlier, and it's like, oh wow,
That's like 50 Shades of Grey.
but this is 50 Shades of AT-AT.
Oh.
That pilot's, flying around there, so we're gonna go in hot. If there's a ball gag, how does it use a save word? Nope, too late. It's already stolen. What are you gonna do? Sue me for infringement?
I'm gonna have to follow that one. I want to see. Oh.
Yeah, Fox is gonna come after you now. Oh wait, Fox blocked us. Well, it did in one place.
I wonder if the episode that we got Fox blocked on had the Peter Griffin opening.
I honestly don't know.
I don't know. They could come after me for that one because I actually used his name. How'd that pan out, by the way?
Because you hit them with evidence.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing to do. How dare you bring up facts?
Well, you do know that there are channels that probably make most of their money from claims like that, because if it's a monetized clip, while the claim is in place and being investigated, any money earned on the clip goes to the person that made the claim, and they do not have to return it if the claim is found to be baseless.
Alistair, you don't monetize your clips, do you? Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not saying that Alistair monetized his, but
Interesting.
see, that's what I'm saying. There are plenty of people that make money off of YouTube because YouTube has that policy that needs to be fixed of once that claim is in place, valid or not, the people putting in the claim get the money, any money earned by the video until the claim is resolved.
On
And unless YouTube has updated the creators' tools and toolbars and whatnot, you don't necessarily get notified right away if you're somebody with a lot of videos. It can be hard to tell that you have a claim on one of your videos.
checking every single time I upload a video. Although I have decided to be a jackass. After they did, I usually don't play with music playing during my streams and when I upload them. This particular one, I played music at the very end while I had my stream is ending banner up. So the 2 streams I've done since then, well, 2 streams I did today, I did nothing but play music from Argo Fox in the background.
Oh. Alistair, by the way, there is something, if you type YouTube audio library into the search bar, there's 2 different YouTube channels run by YouTube that are nothing but music that is either copyright free or licensed for anyone to use as background music in their videos.
Argo Fox is like that.
Okay.
In fact, Argo Fox has a playlist set up on Spotify, which the only downside to that is because I don't have Spotify's subscription, I get ads that play between songs sometimes. But you can just play that playlist.
But yeah, it's kind of a big deal, especially amongst some of the medium-sized YouTube channels and everything. That it happens a lot. They get claims put on their videos for stuff that the claimant clearly doesn't own, and they lose money on that video, and they don't get it back when the claim is resolved, even if it's resolved in their favor, unless they've changed the policy since then. But the last I heard, that's what happens.
which is an odd way to go about it. I like how Firefly, his suggestion there is like what they should do is put that money in escrow so nobody gets it until it's resolved, and then there's no excuse for such obscure notification processes either.
Yeah.
True. The fact that you can monetize it after laying a claim, that's just stupid.
Yeah, someone should be looking at that going, wait a minute. This is just begging for abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start
actually,
doing that. I'm gonna start laying claim left and right on YouTube.
Sony. No, it wasn't Sony. Actually, I think it was Sony. Sony actually put a copyright claim on one of their own videos.
Now, I do believe with this whole YouTube Heroes program that's going into effect, I think there is some talk of punishing people for false claims. Like you can only make so many before you get a suspension or something. But I don't know that any of that's been put into place. I don't keep that close an eye on it since I don't put content on YouTube. Well, there was a huge backlash.
And then a stormtrooper showed up.
It's okay, he missed.
You're not a Jedi.
Yeah, YouTube is a weird place. Like, they want your video descriptions and titles to be family friendly, and if they're not, they've got bots that'll flag your stuff, but they don't necessarily police the content of the video, just the titles.
Just the titles, which is really when that's my kids like YouTube Kids. And let me tell you, I have been very diligent now in going through and making sure that what's on YouTube Kids and they're watching is what's supposed to be there, because there have been some gaming channels that have shown up on YouTube that I was like, yeah, you're not watching this. Not only because of the content, but because the voices that what these little 12-year-olds are saying.
Well, I know that was one of the reasons that people are so upset about Retro Liberty deleting the whole channel, all their videos and everything, because through like hundreds of episodes of that show, those guys they don't curse, which for one of these game hunting channels is incredible. I mean, most of these retro game hunting channels, the guys, I won't say like every other word is a curse word, but they're not even close to clean. And Retro Liberty kept it clean through their whole run.
Yeah, it's like we couldn't be on YouTube Kids.
And
Especially when Tade's around.
Yeah. The other reason people are so upset about Retro Liberty deleting the channel is there's no coming back. Apparently, the guy does not have saves of any of the content, so that channel is just gone into the ether.
See what I did there?
Totally see that. Well, in other news, since it kind of ties in with what PewDiePie had done, PewDiePie or whatever, how you pronounce that thing.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, you get the idea.
Yes.
Apparently Warner Brothers is considering asking Mel Gibson to helm the next Suicide Squad.
Huh.
And I know Alistair will have comment on this because he did before the show. Essentially, it comes down to that there's some folks who strongly believe that he should have absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with it. And I point out is like, actually, as a director, he's really good at what he does.
He's incredibly good at what he does.
And what the films that he's produced, that he's directed, have, I think almost all of them have turned a profit.
I'm really torn on the Mel Gibson issue in general because I absolutely adore the Road Warrior Mad Max movies, and I love a lot of his stuff, but man, some of the stuff that he has done in his personal life in the last 10 to 15 years is
Assuming
just...
that it's true and that has not been substantiated.
Well, now the anti-Semitic rant is substantiated.
That part, yes. Like the
Yes.
And there was audio recordings of him at least threatening the Russian girlfriend.
There's a lot of question about that. And not just, people, armchair quarterbacking, but, people who are actually experts in that saying, this is very dubious. That's him.
I am not saying the man should be blackballed. He has the right to earn a living. I just personally am very torn. Like when he showed up in the Expendables movie, it was kind of hard for me to watch that movie.
I have really nothing against him when he's, on the job. His personal life, there's definitely some questionable things about that.
I am not criticizing anyone that watches his movies or anything like that. I'm not trying to preach. I just have personal issues with it, and I'm still working through them because I'm not going to say I cut Mel Gibson out of my life. That'd be a lie. I just at times especially get very uncomfortable with watching some of his stuff.
Well, it's like, as I was telling Alistair, there's like Tom Cruise, who's got some real questionable personal beliefs, but it's like, he's crazy outside of films, but it's like the moment he gets on the job, it's like a switch gets flipped and he's just brilliant. So I can watch him in films and have no problem whatsoever because I only encapsulate that part, this performance, and the rest of it I could give a damn about. And especially considering when it comes to Mel Gibson and the stuff he's directed, like We Were Soldiers, fantastic film. Hacksaw Ridge, fantastic film. Yeah, I can focus on
Braveheart.
just how he did that. Yeah, Braveheart.
I just don't know if he could do a comic book movie.
I don't know,
I
but
bet you
apparently
he'd do
he's
an
looking
incredible
into it.
job with it.
I think he would do a pretty good job with it because he's really good with ensemble casts.
I know, wasn't there a time when Robert Downey Jr. wanted him to direct a Marvel film?
I have no idea.
Well, supposedly that was a joke because he was talking about not signing another contract or something unless Mel was picked or something.
Oh, okay.
There may have been some kernel of truth of him wanting Mel to direct, but I don't know that like he was legitimately like saying I'm not going to sign this contract. And Robert Downey Jr. is definitely somebody who's not going to begrudge somebody else a second chance in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, apparently it's like after like Mel's ranting meltdown, he's like, "Hey, we both screwed up. Let's, it's like Robert called him. So we both screwed up in time. Come on, let's go, hang out." It's like he wasn't going to cut him out because apparently, Mel did the same for him. Before.
I guess my biggest problem with Mel, and I haven't done enough research on it to say for sure, but I just felt like he was never really repentant enough after the drunken outburst.
The drunken bipolar outburst, because apparently he is bipolar.
I mean, what he said was pretty bad, and I don't know, I don't know. And there's the whole weird situation with his father, where his father is definitely like crazy and confirmed fairly anti-Semitic. Not that that necessarily automatically lumps him in there, but he was definitely raised in somewhat of that environment, apparently.
Yeah, it probably had some part to play in it. Well, regardless, in the case of Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers is looking into it, though not just with Mel, but they're looking at some others like Daniel Esposa, Ruben Fleischer, and Jonathan Levine.
Not
And
names that are right there on my
also he himself is actually familiarizing himself with the comic books to see if he'd even be interested in doing it. So he may not even go with it.
Well, on that
Though I think
same
he could do it.
vein, with Ben Affleck stepping down as the director of the Batman film, it appears that Matt Reeves, while still in early talks, is committing himself to directing the Batman. And those who don't know who Matt Reeves is, he did Cloverfield, War for the Planet of the Apes, and a few other films here and there.
Isn't there some question of if Affleck's even gonna stay in the movie as a star?
Yeah, there are rumors floating around that he wants out, which I'm going to take those with a grain of salt until I hear him say
Well,
something.
I mean, if you saw him on the press tour, I mean, he did not look happy on the Batman v Superman press tour at
Well,
all.
I wouldn't be happy either if every time I turned around someone was bad mouthing me.
But his performance wasn't bad mouth. People said that he was fine. The movie overall was the problem.
True. And even then, I've gone back and watched it a couple of times since it was released, and I've seen the extended cut, and it really isn't that bad a film. It's just not a Marvel movie.
Speaking of films, Clerks 3 has been canceled, as well as Mallrats 2 or the potential Mallrats TV series. So now they're going back and doing a Jay and Silent Bob sequel.
Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which isn't really a reboot.
No, they're going back out to Hollywood to stop the reboot of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie.
Snoochie Boochies.
But apparently the reason that Clerks 3 is canceled is either Dante or Randall didn't want to do the movie.
Because they've got so many things on their plate.
Well, I mean,
I'm
but
kidding. That was just, yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying I could kind of understand not wanting to go back to these characters that don't really seem to grow no matter how much they age.
It's kind of like Bill and Ted 3. Well, even though that is happening.
Whoa.
I will say Kevin Smith is being very nice. Like, we know it has to be either Dante or Randall that said they don't want to do it, but he won't say which one it is.
Well, it's because they're friends of his.
Because he came out and he said one of the four principals, backed out. And he said on his podcast, he views the movie as the inside clerks, which is Dante and Randall, and the outside clerks, which is Jay and Silent Bob. So, Jason Mewes isn't going to turn it down. Kevin Smith came up with it. He can't turn it down. So it's either Dante or Randall.
Okay.
I can't remember their names. I should know this.
I don't know. Randall makes those movies. The whole Lord of the Rings rant in Clerks 2.
Honestly, my guess is it might be Randall because I just don't know how much he actually acts outside of the Kevin Smith movies. I've seen the guy that plays Dante pop up in one or two other places.
I imagine they don't feel like going back to those characters.
I can understand that. I can understand. I mean, it's especially when you're looking at 25 years later, and they haven't grown at all. They're still
they
kind of losers.
They kind of grew at the end of 2.
As I recall, at the end of 2, they went back to the store and became black and white, and it's like everything returned back to the way it was.
Well, no, they bought the store, Dante was engaged to what's her name, who was pregnant with his kid. They owned the stores now, and they were in the process of fixing them back up.
It all stays the same. Got any balls down there? Biggest pair you ever seen, Dingleberry? Sorry, I love those movies.
You had to go
I,
there.
I I had to. Hey, did you shut the door? I didn't realize you came in.
Yeah.
Okay then.
You've been looking for an excuse to use that.
Yes, I have.
Doesn't
Because Burrito didn't show up.
this time.
I mean, I have it all set ready to go.
And Firefly pointed out in different news that IDW followed up on the Trek Green Lantern crossover with this second round. I will say that the artists that they got for that are really good, and it's been good. I've enjoyed the story so far.
User joined your channel.
Weren't they doing a Planet of the
But you
Apes
did.
one too?
This is the best burrito.
What? What'd you just drag him in here? Oh, you poked him.
This is the best burrito I've ever eaten. Is the best burrito yum I've ever eaten. Is the best burrito yum I've ever eaten. Yum yum yum.
Okay.
I could just keep doing that over and over and over now.
So, what'd you poke me for?
He wanted an
Just 'cause
excuse to
I
play
wanted-
that.
I wanted an excuse to play that.
Okay, then.
Okay. We're all over the place today. So Bill and Ted 3 is happening.
They've been saying that for like 5 years.
Keanu Reeves was on, what's that, Graham Norton's show. And they asked him about it. And he's like, yes, we've got a story. And he laid the story out. He's like, Bill and Ted are, here we are, 25 years later. They're in their they're middle-aged. They're supposed to have written this song that's supposed to save the world, and they haven't done it yet, and they can't figure out how to do it. And then somebody comes from the future and tells them that they have to write this song now because the universe depends on it. So,
And yes, Alistair, I see that you're streaming the show too. And I see your new banner image.
Well, I will say, if you're the person from the future, there's an easy solution.
Give them the song.
Hand them the liner notes to the song.
yes.
But then if you do that, they won't have the same soul to it.
I don't know.
What are you trying to get me to notice, Alistair?
Did you just wake up, dude?
No, I'm just trying to figure out what he's trying to tell me.
I don't know. What are you trying to do?
He went to Verizon earlier and they sucked out his brain.
I'm
You went to
rather,
Verizon?
rather frustrated with Verizon right now.
Everybody knows you don't go into the booth in the back
no,
room
this
at
is
Verizon.
an actual... No, whatever.
What
Walked
happened?
into that
Oh,
one.
say it. Blast him right here
I
on the
saw
air.
articles 3 different places, and 2 of them were provided to me via Roland. That should have been my first clue. Basically, though, the way I understood it is, if you were coming from another carrier and switching to Verizon for their new unlimited plan, you could get basically any of the new phones for free. But I understood if you were switching over, or even an existing customer, and had one of a certain few list of phones that you traded in, you could get one of the new phones for only $5 a month. But apparently that too only applies for people not just switching to Verizon, but they would have to be switching from a carrier that they already had an unlimited data plan on.
Always catches.
So we weren't able to do that like I had hoped. And the people in store are just completely worthless when it comes to dealing with business account lines, which ours is. So I left the store and ended up going and calling their support. And the first person I talked to is like, well, you can upgrade the lines if you want, but the only way for using your upgrades and getting new phones after you switch to this unlimited plan is through the monthly payment plans for the phones. Which, that's how it is already for regular Verizon customers, but with our business line, we've still been able to get phones at not even just their 2-year subsidized price, but even 1-year subsidized contracts. In the 1 year is only $30 more than the, like, you know, most new phones that way are $200 for new year contracts. We can do the 1-year contracts for $230. So that's what she tells me, and I get rather pissed off. I call back again almost an hour later. This person now tells me that you can still do that, and he has no idea what was wrong. with the
Verizon's
lady I
hacking you.
talked to.
Domo arigato, Mr. Burrito.
But
Verizon's
yeah,
after you.
so one tells me that we can't still do the 1 or 2 year contracts. The other one says yes, you definitely still can.
This is
But I mean, if we can do the 1 year subsidized, we would still be saving so much freaking money.
If he drops off right now, that'd be just absolutely hysterical.
man. It isn't just him because I'm also watching my bitrate on my stream health tank.
Does Verizon control Twitch?
No, that's
Sorry,
Amazon.
I did not know I had packet loss. That might explain why I lost connection to Stowe. My connection to Discord, however, is perfect.
That you think.
It's 40 millisecond ping, 35 millisecond ping, and I haven't dropped out from listening to a radio stream either, so.
That's it. We just need free Wi-Fi everywhere.
That's what I want with the Wi-Fi.
Well, it'll be cheaper on your phone.
The
Maybe
closest,
Sure, it'd be cheaper on the phone. It's just that I think that for my regular everyday use, I'd rather have a direct line into
Oh yeah.
my machine.
I don't know. I know when I go to downtown Wilmington to play Pokemon, I can cover most of downtown and not have to use my own data because there's TWC hotspots covering like almost the entire downtown of Wilmington.
Time Warner Cable and
Under Fighter?
Yes.
they're,
Why?
they're slow ass service.
Wow.
Yeah, Comcast has been known for doing that too to Netflix.
Why does nobody like Netflix?
Because of how much data it uses.
Well, that
Which-
people aren't watching their television.
Well, no, I mean, well, that's a big part of it too. But I mean, honestly, if they didn't
What it
want their
is-
bandwidth to be used up so much, why don't you just improve your infrastructure? Ooh, wait a minute. That would mean
What
they have
it
to
is
spend
is
money
when-
on their
what-
stuff.
When they see that much bandwidth getting used by Netflix,
I'll be back.
they see Netflix making lots
User
of
left
money,
your channel.
and they want a cut bigger than the cut that they get just for providing the services to begin with.
Extortion.
Except unfortunately, with the Republicans in charge of the FCC, it probably isn't anymore.
Yeah, that was the whole thing behind net neutrality, really. And of course, now that's probably going to go away.
Oh, that's because the FCC chairman is completely 100% in favor of businesses being able to do that sort of thing. Because, he comes from that particular industry and he thinks that's a great idea.
Well, the
Of
funny
course,
thing
because
is,
how is that not conflict?
Tom Wheeler came from the cable industry, and he went after them hardcore once he was chairman of the FCC.
In his, well, not hardcore. It took him a long time before he managed to make that adjustment.
Actually, if you look at,
I did.
I looked at it. It
I
wasn't.
was watching it. I've been watching it since I was in college, man. And with Wheeler, yeah, there was a lot of concern about him, but it actually, it took him a long time before he finally, they made this decision. And now we're at, we got a guy who is more than just against the whole idea of net neutrality. Like, he actively pushed to be put in charge of that so that he would be able to make these changes. And that's pretty much what he's done. The moment he got in there, he's like, "Oh no, we're going to remove these regulations because they're burdensome to business." So he's not wasting any time. Unlike Wheeler, who at least would bow to the massive number of people who are constantly bombarding the FCC's websites. This guy's like, "Nope, I don't care."
But it
No one tells me that they have complaints about this. Oh well, no one can tell you because you got rid of the ability for us to tell you.
Let's not get too into this before we go down a bad rabbit hole.
well,
We don't have to,
just-
man. We just have to watch.
I find it. My little thing. I find it funny. Well, it's bad for business. Yeah, it's bad for Netflix's business. It's bad for Amazon Prime. It's bad for all those businesses as well, because people who are paying money to them are going to stop paying money to them when they can't watch the services that they're paying for.
Mm-hmm.
So, whose business are you looking out for? Oh, I'm looking out for everybody. No, you're not.
Oh, you're definitely not.
Okay, Netflix needs to get on the ball because they already started it rolling. They said they were going to start looking into lawsuits and stuff and that kind of whatnot. Let's get on it.
Time to push back. I mean, sure, that kind of aggressive, I guess it's like aggressive negotiating or something like that, something similar. I can't remember. I saw the term recently, and I unfortunately can't remember what it's called. But apparently that's actually legal. They can do that. The question is, if they push back on lawsuits, how long will it last? Especially if they start winning it.
All depends on who's sitting on the bench when they go.
Well, there is that. But then again, we're seeing we're seeing some interesting things from judges these days, so we'll see how this goes. I have to admit, I was kind of happy with that ruling. And it wasn't just like a small, well, one agrees or two disagree, whatever. No, it was all three of them like, nope, can't do that.
You has a nope, sir. You win nothing. Good day.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I don't know why. I don't know why I did this sort of, almost Austrian/German accent when I was trying to do.
It is too late now.
Now it's not even German and Austrian. It's more, what's his name from Sprocket?
It's Hans and Franz.
No, they're here.
Oh, Dieter?
Dieter, yes, yes. Oh, Klaus is lovely,
this
is he
the
not?
time on Sprockets where we dance.
Isn't man abschminky?
I'm as happy as a little girl.
They use fake German and they put subtitles to it.
Nice.
And now I'm remembering that bodybuilding doc from Animaniacs. Hey, if there's gonna remember something, remembering it from Animaniacs is a good source.
Yes, the monkey stuff. No more monkey stuff.
We're not monkeys. We're just
I don't think
cuckoo.
so. Good night, folks. Hey, so Fox said they'd be open to a Firefly reboot if Joss Whedon did it.
Yeah, now they're saying it, but Josh isn't gonna do it.
And Fillion just signed on to a new show. Well, didn't Book die in the movie also?
It's kind of an empty gesture on Fox's part, anyways. To oh yeah, now we'd love to do this. Really, really, only because Joss Whedon is big.
Leaf on the wind, baby.
I
No, but Fox
wonder
wants it.
if there would be backlash on Fillion. Like, I wonder if his new show is going to face backlash due to some of the stories that came out about what went down on Castle.
Why? What down on Castle?
Well, like the whole reason that the show ended up being canceled was the female lead quit or was fired or let go or something. And it came out that like from multiple people that Fillion just like bullied her for the entire 8 seasons of the show, was just like absolutely terrible to her. And there was so much backlash over her leaving and everything that they had planned to do season 9 and they ended up just canceling it.
That's the first I've ever heard of him ever mistreating a coworker.
Supposedly, like, he would reduce her to tears at times. Like, I don't know if it's something that like built like to that point, but yeah, apparently by the time she left the show, like, he was just terrible to her for some reason, from the stuff I've read anyways.
Was it a case of he was terrible just to her? That you read anyway?
I'm not 100%. I'd have to double check it.
Because everything I know about Nathan Fillion, you know, as a fan and someone who's kind of followed him for a few for years, is
Yeah, I've never heard anything to that effect. And it just doesn't fit how he generally behaves.
yeah, he's usually so pretty laid back and everything.
If that really was happening, you would think that would be coming out a lot more. But who the hell's Pajiba.com? I'm a little dubious of your source, sir.
Ooh, they updated the armor on the stormtroopers. Man, I want to go to Star Wars Celebration.
Probably the
Can we do
I only
Can
see.
we do a GoFundMe?
Yeah, dude, set it up.
Truckyards
Sure.
did it.
The only thing I see about it from anything that I might consider legit is E Online and People from back in May 2016. Nope.
Hmm.
I was trying to read it on People, but People.
Go ahead.
Apologize. I'm not going to dismiss it outright.
Well, no, the one article cites multiple cast members who wish or crew members who wish to remain anonymous or something. I don't know whether it's true or not. I just know that because I had heard something about it when she left the show. I had heard multiple people say that, like, supposedly it was because he just was terrible to her. Which it doesn't necessarily fit with what I've heard about Nathan Fillion, but I don't know one way or another.
Well, we're not a tabloid group here. We're just confused.
Very confused.
Oh my!
Oh my.
That's a different thing entirely.
Oh, well, it's almost 11 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
We didn't even talk to Klingons.
I'll take the Klingons.
I don't want to talk about that.
I don't think they're Klingons.
I hope they're not Klingons.
By the
I
way,
mean, maybe there's some sort of new augment Klingon experiment or something, but I hope that they're not normal Klingons.
They're static Klingons.
Oh, dear Lord.
Hey, I'm not the only one who can do. You're not the only one who can do puns, sir. Oh, shut up.
That reminds me of that old joke. What do toilet paper and the Enterprise have in common?
They both circle Uranus looking for Klingons?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, right then. Well. I don't know. I don't think they're Klingons. And if they are Klingons, somebody better do some serious explaining.
No, they want to do their own look.
But they've already established that this will be in the timeline of the original series, which means that they should be augment Klingons, which means they should have no ridges.
Well, they're not augment Klingons, but they would have suffered from the genetic modification, virus, whatever.
Well, now there's some theories that state that they've already proven that state that Discovery can't possibly be in the actual timeline because of the fact that the Starfleet Delta that we've seen has the Enterprise's. That's the Enterprise's symbol. That doesn't become the symbol for Starfleet until later. Each ship had their own individual
True.
symbol. But then other people are saying, well, look, it's not the same. You've got this line on it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
as we've come to know it, was primarily on the Enterprise, but I'm pretty sure the emblems were used on other ships prior.
I don't know. I know that on TOS, each ship and duty station had its own emblem on the uniforms.
Well, I suppose we'll find out. We don't have much to go off of yet. Still.
Yeah, they've been keeping pretty quiet about it.
They cast some more people. I saw that the other day.
Yeah. Now, as we head into the end of the show, I have been trolling all of these Star Wars fan pages and Star Trek fans, mostly Star Wars fan pages, that have been what we know about this so far and what we know and what is Finn's role in the Force or the Last Jedi going to be. And my comments have been, don't know, the movie doesn't come out till December. He's taking, yes, he was taking a nap now, and we don't know. And everybody's like, well, and this, it's like, you don't know. No, don't give me, oh, inside sources are saying, yes. And inside sources also said that Yoda was going to be in The Force Awakens. And they also said that this was going to be in The Force Awakens. And this was going to, oh, please, stop with this. Stop with the rumors, folks. Just wait till December.
Wait 9 days and then go read Aftermath Empire's End.
That comes out in 9 days?
Apparently, it does.
Well, what do you know?
I
Here
did
we go.
read Catalyst though. That was good. I still haven't read the next ones in the Aftermath series.
Yeah, Life Debt is the second one, and then the last one is Empire's End. Yeah, I think you'll like Life Debt a lot. It's interesting to see.
Well, that first book was definitely a slog.
Interesting. According to IMDb, Nicholas Meyer was only a consulting producer on 2 episodes of Discovery. And Alex Kurtzman says the same thing, but I don't know how they would know that one way or another yet.
The more I mean, they just shut down their in-house visual effects thing up in Canada.
I thought that was not confirmed yet.
No, I thought it was. Either way, there's been so much. There's a lot of circling the drain going on with this series, and it's starting to scare me. Just waiting for somebody to hit the plunger. It's like, well, now we got this, and now we got this. Now we got this, and now we got this, and now we got this. We gotta wait for this, and we gotta wait. It's like, yeah, maybe you should just put this on CBS. I don't know. How about I wonder how many people have actually canceled their all access accounts because of the delays. We heard how much money they had made beforehand.
Well, I mean, what else is on there to watch? You can get Star Trek on Netflix and Amazon right now.
Hulu.
Yeah, well, until All Access starts carrying them exclusively.
Do we know when that is?
Well, you can watch them all now on All Access.
Well, you ain't making as much money off of it because you don't put it on CBS. It was a tentpole for many years, and then you guys suddenly, try to limit it to just UPN, and things
I
started
think
going
the
downhill from there.
problem is the separate
UPN.
companies. When Viacom split, it caused serious problems when it dealt with that property.
Well, the other thing is I don't think they're not even following the history of Star Trek. Part of the reason that TNG was such a big success was it was syndicated off the bat. It wasn't, automatically on just on like a Paramount station or whatever. Because I know in the DC metro area, the Baltimore Fox station showed it as well as Paramount 20, and that enabled it to succeed because you could catch it different nights, even the new episodes and everything. But TV doesn't do that anymore. Not like that. Not with
Which
new
is
shows.
unfortunate.
Well, that's
But it
why
was- which
Hasselhoff
is
got
funny.
rich off of Baywatch also.
Yeah, it's funny that they said, well, it doesn't work anymore. Why would it not work anymore? I mean, it worked for so many series. Hercules, Xena, Baywatch, The Lost World. What was the other one that was out there? Andromeda. All of those shows went straight to syndication. Where it was first run syndication. I don't see why it wouldn't work again.
They don't want it to work. They want a national or corporate identity.
Well, I'll tell you what. When CBS, I think this whole they're going to jump into the net neutrality thing too, because it's if what is going to happen with the internet and people are going to start cracking down, they're going to start throttling services when people are watching stuff online instead of watching their cable television and all that kind of stuff, or you're using too much bandwidth. This is going to start causing issues with these online services.
The other thing was with those syndicated shows, the networks they had little to no say in the content. And I think that's something that they're worried about coming back and biting them or something.
True. Well, Klingons. That's all I'm going to say. Klingons.
I hope not.
Well, speaking of Klingons, apparently they got a bit of the Sinestro Corps going on with that whole crossover that they're doing for IDW. Although, I know I'm really spoiling it for anybody. I don't know how familiar you are with the Spectrum War that went on with DC. You had the Rage Lanterns, and
you had
so
red,
on.
orange, blue,
indigo,
green, and white. But there was only
and
like
black.
one White Lantern.
Yep, and then there was the whole Black Lantern.
Yeah, but that was almost its own whole separate saga. But I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there at this point. But no, what in the last issue that I had gotten for that, Atrocious, who's the guy in charge of the Red Lanterns and is all about rage, went looking for a new source of rage, and boy did he find it.
Atrocitus?
Yeah. Want to guess who he found?
I'm guessing
The Klingons.
That's your guess, Wolfie. What was yours?
The Klingons.
Nah, the Sinestro Corps is hanging out with them.
The Black Tar monster that killed Tasha.
Adam, you got one? Want to guess?
Kira.
All good guesses. Yes, and she has a lot of rage, but
And they're all wrong. It's lore.
still wrong because it's JJ verse or Kelvin verse. No, it's Khan.
But he's frozen.
Not anymore. Nor is any of his buddies. And not only that, he apparently beat the crap out of that guy and took his ring.
He beat up Atrocitus?
Yes.
Okay, I have to read this comic now.
Yeah, that's the last thing
Atrocitus
you
is
saw.
like pretty powerful.
Oh yeah.
How in the hell did he beat up Atrocitus?
We don't know. All we know is that that issue ended with they went to check out a major source of rage that I think
Who
the
is
Green Lanterns
attacking
detected.
us?
What's that?
Oh, never mind. I thought Adam was playing a sound, but I realized it's my Fallout Shelter game on my desktop. Never mind.
Anyway, he went. I think it was Kirk and a few others actually went to where Khan was being stored because they detected, a Red Lantern, which there's only one, went looking for him, and they found him unconscious. And Khan and his buddies all standing around saying, "I want to know what this is." And that's all you get. He's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Pew pew
So,
die.
so we're gonna find out in the next issue what
Is
exactly happened.
Larfleeze in this one?
Oh yeah,
The
Yes.
Orange Lantern?
yep. They're all running out of power is the problem.
Yes, it's a very interesting take on the whole Green Lantern lore because
They have no lanterns with them.
they have no lanterns. They have no way to recharge.
None of them do. And if any Spectre or Spectrum, I should say. Uh, yes, and they have not succeeded. But they found a Manhunter, not Martian Manhunter. One of the yes.
Wait, what was a Manhunter doing there?
That's the question.
Is it one of the Manhunters that has a power battery as a power lantern as its battery, or the old Manhunters?
It's an old Manhunter, but the point then Spock postulated this is that even though it's a different timeline, that seems to suggest that the Guardians of the Universe actually did exist in this timeline too. And so now it's a race to find them. Possibly, I mean, but the search is on now to find power batteries.
Oh God, it's the Q.
No. You showed up in a different crossover. That was DC. That was the DC. What Legionnaires Star Trek crossover?
Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, that's that one.
No, wait a minute. Didn't Star Trek cross over with the X-Men at one point?
Twice.
That did happen, yes, but that was way back.
So, how does that? I hate all that. Trying to figure out how all that fits together.
Multiverses, man.
Different dimensions. And that was Primeverse too for that. That happened like right after First Contact.
That's it. Okay, Firefly. Now you're pushing it. Kelvin Khan versus Serpentor.
If Khan beat Atrocitus, Serpentor he would snap his neck in about 5 seconds.
Melt him back down into the separate parts that he started from. I mean, yeah, Atrocitus took on like Superman and all those guys, right?
Yeah. But he went looking for a source of rage, and he's like, "This is the purest source of rage I have ever detected." It's like, and then you see the end of it, it's like, "Oh yeah, you definitely found the perfect pure source of rage. You found Khan."
Yeah. But then again, I figure Atrocitus is probably also weak because he's running out of energy, so that may also be how Khan managed to beat him.
Yeah. Or the Ring said, "Oh, I'm out. I'm going to him."
Gone.
He's not wearing it though.
Bye, Felicia.
When he does put it on, it should be very interesting.
Well, I mean, they don't always have to basically spew out their heart. I mean, at least one of them hasn't. He just happened to be the leader. And in Firefly, I don't think that's true because of the fact that they were actually in the torpedoes and tucked away. So I think the events of Into Darkness had happened somehow-ish. Not sure.
If they were in the torpedoes, Into Darkness had to have happened.
Yeah, because as I recall in the issue, they look like those were the stored torpedoes we saw at the end of Into Darkness.
Oh, that's interesting. I just learned that for some reason, if I have TeamSpeak as my primary window, OBS does not actually pick up my audio, so there are probably instances of me talking and not being picked up by the stream.
It's just us reacting to what you say.
Anyway, we should probably call it.
You should.
You can play the ending theme. I have an ending banner.
Hang on. We got to correct Firefly. No, he doesn't. Khan did not die. He was tucked back away into his tube.
Yeah, he doesn't die. There's literally a scene where they show him back in cryogenic stasis. It's a thing. It's a fake.
You have an ending thing up already?
Throw it up now. It just says stream ending, but follow to catch me again.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just, instead of doing the ending, I'll just be like, let's see, what am I going to do here?
Be like awkward silence.
Awkward silence. Also, follow us on the GeekEZ.
Quiet, audience. Down. Down, boys.
Down in front.
All right, well.
Yes, follow us on Twitter at the GeekEZ.
Or Facebook.
GeekEZ, letters E and Z, or Facebook. Or if you use Google Plus, welcome to 2017.
Or just think real hard.
And on MySpace, you need to rethink your life.
Yeah, if you're on
What
MySpace,
about Friendster?
we're not a band. And
Well, we are a band, but not that kind of band.
Tom is not our friend.
Eventually, we should set up a Tumblr page, but later. Prop
That's
man,
what
don't be so darn literal.
What?
I suddenly just had a Daffy Duck moment from way back.
Oh,
Despicable.
I guess. Are we out of here?
Or can be out of
I think we're done.
here.
All right, close the door on your way out.
Should we sing them out?
Wrong. That'll get us nailed for copyright. We'll be infringed. Or infringing.
Actually, I know the best way to do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.